Imagine standing at the edge of the Brooklyn Bridge, ready to jump. The city lights below you don't care. Your million-dollar life is in ruins. You've lost everything: your career, your love, your identity. And then, out of nowhere, a stranger hands you a book. That book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. What happens next isn't just healing, it's awakening. Michael Hart was once a name that echoed in the corridors of Wall Street. A 42-year-old hedge fund manager, Michael had everything: money, power, a penthouse in Manhattan, a Tesla in his garage, and an Instagrammable girlfriend named Alina, who was 15 years younger and a fashion influencer with 1 million followers. His schedule was packed with board meetings, fine dining reservations, and vacations that looked better in pictures than in person. But inside, he was a storm of anxiety, self-loathing, and chronic dissatisfaction. He would wake up in the middle of the night sweating, haunted by the fear of losing it all. No matter how much he achieved, it was never enough. One deal gone south, and he'd spiral into rage. A bad comment from a client, and his mind would ruminate for days. Every moment he wasn't working was a moment he feared his empire would collapse. And then it did. One morning, while finalizing a billion-dollar merger, the FBI walked into his glass-walled office. Insider trading. They had evidence, and it wasn't pretty. Michael was arrested in front of his entire staff. Cameras flashed. He saw the same photographers who once captured him sipping champagne, now documenting his downfall. The news exploded. His accounts were frozen. His so-called friends vanished. Alina, who had once captioned photos with "Forever with this one," posted a new picture the very next week with a rising pop artist in Bali. Michael's life was reduced to a cold, empty apartment, a half-broken laptop, and a sea of unopened letters. One night, unable to sleep and drowning in despair, Michael stood at the edge of the Brooklyn Bridge. Wind howled. The city sparkled beneath him, unaware of his pain. As he looked down into the icy water, he whispered, "What is the point?" Then, from behind, a voice broke the silence. Thinking again, Michael turned, startled. An old man in a frayed coat stood behind him. His eyes were soft but sharp, like he could see through flesh and straight into the soul. "You're not your thoughts, son," the man said calmly. "They're killing you because you believe them." Michael blinked. "What the hell are you talking about?" "You've lost everything you thought you were," the old man said. "And now, you're about to meet who you really are." Then he handed Michael a weathered copy of The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Part 2, The Silence. Michael didn't jump that night. Instead, he stumbled home and tossed the book on the floor. But something in the old man's eyes haunted him. Days passed. Out of boredom, or desperation, Michael opened the first chapter. He read, "You are not your mind." He scoffed. Then who the hell am I? Yet something tugged at him. He kept reading. The book talked about the voice in the head, the one that never stops thinking, worrying, regretting, fantasizing. It was like Tolle had written the book while hiding inside Michael's skull. For the first time in months, Michael sat on the couch and just listened. To his breath, to the silence in the room, to the present. And it terrified him. His mind screamed, "This is stupid. You're a loser. You're wasting time." But for once, he didn't respond. He let the voice shout. He let it pass. He started practicing presence. Small things. Washing dishes without thought. Walking through Central Park while noticing each step, each leaf. He started journaling, not to track goals or monitor productivity, but to simply observe his thoughts like passing clouds. One day, he noticed something strange. The voice was quieter. The anxiety, muted. The pain, still there, but no longer owning him. He no longer needed to be someone. He just was. Part 3, The Return. Months passed. Michael moved into a tiny cabin in upstate New York, away from the noise. He sold almost everything. No social media, no stock tickers, no performance metrics. He got a job at a local bookstore. The owner, Marlene, was a 70-year-old widow who loved cats and Rumi. They would drink herbal tea and discuss philosophy while watching the snow fall. One snowy evening, a woman entered the store, soaking wet, frantic, clearly lost. Her name was Natalie. She had broken down on the highway. Her phone had died, and the nearest garage was closed. Michael offered her tea and a blanket. They talked. She was a therapist, burned out, questioning everything. She asked Michael how he stayed so calm. He smiled and said, "I stopped fighting the moment." Natalie returned the next day, then again and again. Eventually, they began spending time together, not in whirlwind romance, but in stillness. Walks in the woods, reading by the fire, silence that spoke louder than words. Part 4. The Awakening. Years passed. Michael didn't go back to Wall Street. Instead, he began speaking at small gatherings, churches, community centers, even rehab clinics. Not as a preacher, not as a guru, but as a man who had walked through fire and found stillness. He taught people how to pause, how to feel their breath, how to return to the present moment, no matter the chaos. His story became known. Journalists tried to write redemption arcs, but he declined interviews. He said he had nothing to prove anymore. One night, he was asked to speak at a large mindfulness conference in San Francisco. On stage, in front of thousands, he said, "I was once a prisoner to time, always running towards some imagined future, haunted by a painful past. But the door to freedom was always here, in this breath, in this moment. And it's open to you too." Tears streamed down faces. As he walked off stage, he spotted a familiar figure. It was the old man from the Brooklyn Bridge. Michael ran to him. You changed my life. Who are you?" The man smiled. "Just someone who saw you for a moment." Michael hugged him, tight without words. And for that moment, there was no past, no future, just the deep, eternal now. If this story moved you, don't just click away. Take a breath, close your eyes, and feel this moment. That's where your healing begins. Want more stories like this inspired by books that can transform your life? Hit that subscribe button. Comment, "I choose now," if you're ready to stop chasing and start living. This is Yesterday Plus One, turning wisdom into action, one story at a time. See you in the present.